Welcome back to the Social Media Millionaire Podcast, episode 7. Today we're going to be unpacking high ticket sales and specifically talking about how to sell pretty high ticket packages on social media. We're going to be unpacking how we've been able to sell 25K plus packages in the DMs and even how clients of ours have been able to sell up to 6-figure packages in the DMs and what that sales process actually looks like.
To start off with loosely defining high ticket sales, this is something that is typically over at least $1,000, really over $5,000 in value, and provides an immense amount of value to a client. It's also not something that a client will typically purchase regularly for their business or for themselves.
It's usually a bigger investment with a little bit more thought process behind it. When people talk about creating urgency in your content, getting people to impulse buy, that's really not a strategy that's applied with high ticket sales.
The other thing that's really beneficial, so that's on the client side. On the business side, what high ticket sales allows you to do is it allows you to limit the customers that you take onto your business. So you're working with less customers, but you're providing a higher quality service. So you're able to increase your revenue with less customer acquisition.
So when people say that they want to work less and make more, generally they're speaking about high ticket sales. So to dive in a little bit into the pros and cons of selling high ticket offers, obviously you have to compare it to its counterpart, which is low ticket offers. So high ticket versus low ticket.
I think there's a pretty thick gray area in between. And there's a lot of offers, and we'll do a different episode on this, but there's a lot of offers that are like monthly recurring, like retainers, things like that are on the lower ticket side of things, where it's more of an ongoing. Most high ticket stuff is within a set time period as well. You're looking for big results in a specific time period.
The other thing to keep in mind with high ticket versus low ticket is you want to take into account your audience and the amount of visibility that you have. And you potentially want to also stack high and low ticket offers in your suite, but we can get into that in a second. So in looking at your audience, what we've found is that generally people with a smaller audience tend to be happier with higher ticket offers because they don't have to sell as high of a volume and they can make the same amount of money that somebody might be making with a much larger audience through selling just a few higher ticket offers. The other thing to keep in mind is if you have lower ticket offers, the way that you're going to be selling those, and if you're wanting to transition from low ticket to high ticket sales, there is a certain difference with the quality, the experience that people tend to expect when it comes to the actual delivery of those. So it's something to keep in mind when looking at your business's systems and your own capabilities, is whether you're truly able to deliver a high ticket level experience.
And generally speaking, I'm not going to say that this is always the case, but generally a high ticket item is a service. There aren't too many like high ticket products that this typically refers to. And we're speaking almost completely in the context of service-based, online, service-based businesses. So anything from like lawyers and like CPAs, tax consultants, all the way to like fitness coaches, business coaches, social media managers is another huge one as well. Everything in that space. If you scroll through your social media feed and you look at your business coaches or whoever it is, you can look at Kenda, for example, most of the high ticket services revolve around some form of education, generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in consulting or coaching and you're educating or you're providing a high ticket service like a web design or, something of that respect.
On the flip side of that, the high tickets that are services and not education are typically website build outs, membership build outs, anything like that, system build outs. You can get into like Salesforce, ClickUp, you can get into these really complex systems where you have these agencies, you can have ad agencies that have high ticket items as well. All kinds of different stuff along those lines where you're looking at paying, a lot of money for a really big result, typically in a short time period.
Right. So when looking at your business and looking at if high ticket offers are really it for you, I think delivery, like we talked about, is a huge piece if you are actually able to deliver a high ticket level service. The other thing is going to come in with your marketing, your sales, and what that's actually going to look like, because it is a lot different to market and sell a $25,000 package than it is to sell a $25 course.
And I think it really just depends on the business you're looking at. Like, let's look at an account, for example. If you're doing tax returns for individuals, you're probably not going to like have a high ticket service unless unless you're like targeting like upper 1% tax returns or upper middle class at least, where there's more work and or more skill that can be provided and have that value realized. On the flip side, if you're like a product-based business or anything like that, really, like you have to analyze the pros and cons within your own businesses.
Yeah. So when it comes to your sales process, that's where most people start to panic. You say the word sales and people have a visceral reaction.
It's funny because there's a lot of different ways you can go about this, even with high ticket. You can have just a simple funnel and have people go through your entire funnel without ever getting on the phone with them and have them purchase your high ticket offer. Now, will you have to have really good copywriting for that? Absolutely. Good follow up and email campaigns? Absolutely. But it's possible.
You can sell entirely in the DMs. You can have people book a call and jump on the phone with them. There's a million different ways to run this.
And we typically recommend a combination.
Yeah, I think a hybrid approach is generally the best, especially for people that are transitioning from lower ticket offers to higher ticket offers. And the thing is, with a lot of our clients, when they come to us, generally they have an offer that they think is high ticket that's not, right? We have a newer client who is selling a package for it's like $1,500. And to this client, that is super, super high ticket. To me, that's a low ticket sale.
And part of the way you can also like look at the low ticket, high ticket is like if you divide it by the hourly rate and just see how much work that would be like if you were to bill it out hourly.
The other thing that I like to bring into this is also the estimated ROI. Now, it's harder to do for some businesses than others, but we tend to work with a lot of people that are in the business space. So they're web designers, they're social media managers, right? They're doing things that can be directly correlated to revenue and an increase in sales.
And as a business owner, they are concerned about their capital and how they deploy it.
Exactly. And so if you say you're a social media manager, if you stand to make your client say $8,000, then a good rule of thumb that we've seen is to price the service at about 50% of that estimated ROI. So if your estimation is that you can make a client $8,000, then it makes sense to charge about $4,000 for your service, right? That's just an average that we've seen in correlating to revenue. Our foundations, it's not always an exact science, but it's a really good kind of starting place because a lot of times you can't directly correlate hours to the amount of time and effort because there could be something that maybe it's a higher ticket coaching program and it's a group program. And so you're really only spending, 4 hours on the phone because you're doing 1 hour a week and it's a month-long program, but you're charging like $3,000 to $4,000 per person for it. And so if you're doing that, maybe your time doesn't directly correlate to $1,000 per hour with every single one of those people.
Of course not, but the knowledge and value that you bring is why you're billing your program or charging that specific rate for your program.
And so that's where you can kind of bring in the estimation of the ROI, where it's like, what do you potentially stand to make those clients? And then you can generally divide that in half in a lot of ways. Again, then you're not necessarily directly correlating it to an hourly. And the other thing to consider is that it's not just about the time that you're spending with those clients, it's about the amount of time that it took you to learn those skills, to educate yourself, the money that you invested in education for yourself. And factoring that into the pricing is a really great way to, which all of this is leading up to, is you have to feel really secure in the price that you select. You have to feel very confident in it. And you need to be able to explain to others, and most importantly yourself, why you're pricing it where you are at. Because if you are trying to sell a program for $10K, but you don't feel good about selling it for $10K, nobody's going to feel good about buying it for $10K. So your internal alignment, even though that sounds like a woo-woo word, your alignment and satisfaction with the price that you are providing is the number one key to being able to sell anything high ticket.
And going back to the example that you gave with, the social media manager saying they provide an average ROI of like 8K a month, to feel really confident, I'm not saying you should underprice yourself at all, but like sometimes people like social media managers, for example, they can do a really good job. They can provide $1 million return for their client in, a couple of months sometimes if they have a couple of videos go viral, for example. But is that like the average? If they decide they're going to, have their average client, charge $500K a month, that might be too much. That might not make sense for them. So taking like a really good average of like what you can very comfortably and very confidently say your average returns are going to be, and then basing your prices off that is the really smart way to go. That way your client will be happy. And if they get a higher return, you'll be great. But also on your business side, making sure that your economics are good, you'll also be very happy as well.
And that also then gives you the space to really comfortably be able to raise your prices as inflation and new year and all these things happen, because I think that you should be increasing your pricing as your experience increases.
Or at least create another offer that provides, the experience that you have at a higher level. Because sometimes you want to have different offers. Just because your experience grows, you can, have an offer that gives that experience out, but you also might want to have an offer to provide to other people that's, less work, but provides that same value as you were before, like you said.
Exactly. And the thing is that even just you sitting here listening to this podcast is you bettering yourself as a business owner. That's time that you've poured into perfecting your craft and bettering yourself. Any books that you read, any education that you have, any time that you spend, again, on perfecting your craft, becoming better at what you do, those things should be accounted in your price increases that you do quarterly or annually or however you want to do it. And again, if you're attaching it to an hourly rate or cost per social media post, right? As I see so many people do, you're really limiting yourself, and you're disrespecting your time and value and experience by trying to correlate it in that way. And it's going to make it harder for you to have those increases, and it's going to put you in a place where you are in an uncomfortable in between when it comes to scalability. Because what happens when you want to raise your price and bring on a couple of team members? How do you justify the pricing then? So it puts you in an uncomfortable situation where there's a disconnect. So if you really bring in your experience and the estimated ROI for your client and your time and all of those things, rather than directly correlating it to an hourly rate, that seems to be a lot more effective and set you up for success in the long run.
Like Kendall was saying, when you tie it to an hourly rate, one of the other unintended side effects of that can be the type of customer you also attract. Kendall loves to talk about this all the time, and she'll probably make fun of me for bringing it up in this episode because we just talked about it a ton recently. But the buyer types of different customers are different, and when you attach stuff to an hourly rate and even like an ROI, specific ROI, it really affects your analytical buyers and how they look at your product or service.
100%.
So an analytical buyer, if you attach it to an hourly rate, they will find the cheapest rate that they can. I'm an analytical buyer most of the time. That is what I will do. But if you say, hey, this is what your ROI is going to be, you're flipping the frame that you have in your sales process. And that analytical buyer will say, hey, that's how much money you're going to make me instead of how much money you're going to cost me. So everything you do to frame your offer and create your offer affects the customers you attract into your business and your entire sales process.
And the foundation that you go about setting your pricing, setting up your systems, setting up what's actually going to be included in your offer, that is directly correlating to your marketing, what you're actually going to say on social media, how you're going to be able to sell it, what you're going to say when you have these sales conversations, which is why I always say I'm not a business coach, I'm a visibility coach, but I have to fix things inside of your business to make it marketable. And so when it comes to your offers, many people have gaps between their pricing and what they're delivering, or gaps between their systems and delivery and what they're actually marketing on social media. And so all of these different elements have to be in alignment to actually be able to bring in that visibility and to make your business marketable. And so that's why we talk about this in TTI, not because we want to be a business coach, because I most definitely do not, but these are elements of your business that have to be there to get that visibility, to get that profitability that you are actually looking for. So let's talk about marketing. How do you market a high ticket offer?
Well, we market it organically. If you've been around for a while, you know we're a huge fan of organic content marketing. We recommend an omnipresence on multiple platforms, creating cross-platform traffic where you can leverage that, to drive traffic into your offers. And like we were talking about earlier, into your sales funnel, where you're either selling in the DMs, you're booking live sales calls with clients, or you're simply dragging them into a checkout page and, gain those credit card numbers. Ka-ching.
So when it comes to organic marketing, our big thing is attraction marketing. And we look to sell people that identify with the symptoms that we speak to. So to put that into normal English, we want our content to connect with right where you're at. You should feel seen and heard. When you watch our content, we want you to say, oh my gosh, that's me. I do that. I need that. right? That's what we're trying to achieve with our content. That's what our clients achieve with their content, right? And so the point with all of this, it sets you up for success in the very beginning because people feel seen and heard by you, and you start building that rapport that you really need to make a high ticket sale from the very first touch point and interaction. From the very first time that they actually see you and are connected with you and start consuming your content, you're building that rapport by helping them feel seen and heard, which is ultimately what people want, which is why I am such a big proponent of saying do not do educational WikiHow style content, because 3 tips for how to do something is not going to help someone feel seen and heard.
Well, and you have to remember, like, you are a content creator, being creative. You have to remember that in your content creation process, because doing the wiki content, anyone can do that. Anyone can read from a dictionary and tell you what the definition of something is or how to do something very easily. Now, this isn't saying that you shouldn't bring educational value into your content. It's just saying the manner in which you go about it needs to be different. A lot of people talk about copywriting in emails and on websites, but what they don't talk about it is in your scripting in your content and how you need to use words to activate, psychologically speaking, your prospective buyers. So, for example, if you're in real estate and you're doing a real estate course about how to generate lead flow and you're charging $10,000, things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to target people who are lacking lead flow in their real estate deals, and they're trying to generate more lead flow and create, for example, problem aware content around that. So a lot of people, if you're flipping homes and you're not getting the lead flow you need to flip houses, it's a big problem for them. And it's all they're thinking about because they're like, how am I going to, make payroll next month if I can't get another house to flip? So realizing that, creating content around that to target those people, target what they know they're missing or what they don't know they're missing in their business and what their current realities are, and then adding that value in there, not necessarily the tips and tricks, but how to solve those problems in one form or another, and building trust and rapport with them to drive them into your funnel to get your freebie of how to, increase your lead flow for your business.
Well, and one thing I'll just say is that a lot of people, you just said add value, which is a buzzword in the industry. Everyone's going off about adding value. And the thing is that it is more valuable to your audience to help them connect the dots between what they're experiencing and what they need to fix than it is for you to dump 3 tips for how to do something on them. That is more valuable. Turning your Instagram into an encyclopedia is not beneficial when someone doesn't realize that they need those tips to solve the problem that they don't know they have.
Everyone has access to Google and ChatGPT, so that really doesn't help them.
Right. They don't need that. They need you to connect the dots for them to create an aha moment for them. And that's where this really goes back to what we always talk about infusing sales psychology into your content. If you can create an aha moment with your content for the person that's watching it, you, one, have instantly built trust with them. 2, you've given them a dopamine hit by solving their problem. That aha moment produces that dopamine hit, which makes your content bingeable and addictive, and they want more of your content. So they're going to keep coming back to that page. They're going to keep giving you micro commitments. They're going to keep interacting with you. You're going to build that yes ladder with them that brings them all the way into your high ticket offer. But that's not possible by saying, here's 3 tips for how to do blah, 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 blah. That doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that value is very low to non-significant. Now, what Kenda's saying is, that value is a lot higher. If you're doing like the real estate example, if you're explaining to someone who can't get the deal flow for their business, if you're walking them through how they can start to get lead flow or build funnels for deal flow, that is absolutely huge to them because that's like the lifeblood of their business. And that builds loyalty, that builds trust, that gets those micro commitments, as Kenda was saying. And it drives them further into your brand and who you are and how you do business, and priming them. That way, when they get into the email sequence, when they get access to the freebie, when they join your community,
when you get on the phone with them, when you talk to them in the DMs,
they're already sold on your methodologies and methods.
Which you really hit home to the next key point, which is we are so beyond the point on social media of trying to convince people that we can do something, that we can produce a result, that we're good at what we do. Really, what you're selling is the fact that you are the best fit for them, right? And that's where people take it too far with the testimonials, too far with the social proof. Oh my gosh, I follow so many people and I just feel like I'm getting beat over the head with their social proof and testimonials. Nobody cares that Sally from Wisconsin really enjoyed being in your program. That means nothing to me. Where did she start? What problems did you solve for her? What did you do together? What were the roadblocks she had? What did you actually do to solve those problems? Where is she now? Can I see myself in her story? Is that relatable to me? Was she struggling with something that almost everybody else struggles with?
Well, and this is what we do, especially on your story. If you aren't following Kendall already, be sure to follow her, Kendall.Laney on Instagram, and look at her story because this is what we do. We give examples of clients, where they started, how we helped them, and where it got them. And what that does is when you're at their starting point, you can relate to them. And you're like, whoa, if I can get that result, Kendall's program is a perfect fit.
If they can do it, so can I. And that's the thing is like then when you get into the sales conversation, like Soren was saying, you're on the call with them, you're in the DMs. If you want to be able to make high ticket sales in the DMs, they need to already know from your content exactly who you are, exactly what you do, the fact that you've served and helped all these other people that have the exact same problem that they have, that you see their current reality, that you know exactly what the next steps are to bring them out of it, and you've already handled any objections that they might have in your content. That's the secret to having really successful high ticket sales from attraction marketing is you do all the things that you would do on a normal standard sales call in your content. That's all out of the way. Any questions they have are direct customization as to what they actually need. It's well past the will this work for me? Are you a scammer? Is this a real course? Can you actually help me? Do you help people that are in my same situation, right? All of that has been covered. All of that stuff is out of the way and it creates space for you to have a really open conversation with them and have super integrity led sales where you're not forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. You're not using these pressure close, fake urgency tactics, right? These people come to you and before they even talk to you, they're sold on your services. They're sold on what you do. And so it's just about helping them see which specific offer out of your suite is most aligned with them. It's not about trying to prove yourself anymore. And that's really the secret to having really successful high ticket sales from social media. So the last thing to share to kind of wrap this up is I want to just talk briefly about our personal experience in bringing high ticket sales into our business. So when we first started out, I was doing web design and social media management, and then we started to shift into some consulting. And in the very beginning, everything that I was offering was relatively low ticket, and it was really, I'm not going to say scary. It was just like to put a higher price tag on the services that I was providing. I was just like, I'm going to put this out there, but no one's going to buy it. No one's going to pay that amount. And then someone did. And then my experience grew and grew and grew, and the prices raised as there was more and more demand. And none of that would have happened without just the decision to put it out there and see what happens. When you first see a higher price point attached to your name, your services, it can sometimes be couldn't be me, right? Like, who do I think I am, right?
Yeah, a lot of people and a lot of businesses when you first switch over to this, it can be kind of like you're having a personality conflict because it doesn't feel like that's not who I am. And a lot of people think because they're charging a lot of money, they think it has to be a luxury service. I do think if you're paying a lot of money, ultimately it has to be good, but
You're also paying for the information, not just the experience.
it's the value that is provided. Whether it is information or something specifically being done, they are hiring you because you can do or provide something to them that they desperately need. Whether it's in their own life or in their own business, they need it. And that's why they came to you.
And so you are going to be really, really limiting yourself if you are only having lower ticket offers in your business, unless you just have millions and millions and millions of followers and are really, really good at the visibility game and can reach just a ton of people. I think that having a hybrid offer suite where you have some lower ticket offers, you also have high ticket offers within your suite where they kind of feed back and forth into each other. You have a really well optimized upsell and downsell structure. That's what has really been the most nourishing and I'd say sustainable that we've seen with ourselves and our clients. I know that a lot of people will try to push kind of one offer or another, and I think that this is one of those times where there really is room for a happy medium. I would honestly have both, but I wouldn't limit yourself at 1 or 2,000 and call that a high ticket sale. I would really challenge you to start bringing these much higher ticket packages into your business because it's a really great way to exponentially explode your revenue. And once you make a couple of high ticket sales and you see the value and how happy people are with your service, it's much easier to create more of them, to sell more of them. It changes the way you show up on social media. It changes the way that you deliver your lower ticket offers. And so I think that beyond the money and the financial success that higher ticket offers can really bring, my personal opinion is that bringing higher ticket experiences into your offer suite really is going to impact you as a business owner in a very positive way. It helps you to see yourself more as a valuable service provider or mentor or coach or whatever it is that you do. I think it's really important for you to see that other people do value you at an amount that you maybe don't see as realistic to value yourself at. It really shifts your perspective as a CEO and seeing what impact you can really have on the world. And so I think even just the confidence and I guess mindset shifts that bringing high ticket into your offer suite makes all of it worth it. Like beyond any monetary wins, it's really going to shift your perspective as to what you're capable of in your business. There's a million and one reasons to have higher ticket offers and looking at your systems and right there's so many different reasons to do it from a business perspective, but for you as a person, I can't even really fully describe it, but having these higher ticket offers and being able to sell them instills so much confidence in your ability to have repeatable success in your business. And that confidence and that stability is what's really going to allow you to scale, make decisions differently, and kind of look at the bigger picture of your business. I would attribute a lot of those changes, those mindset changes, those insights to the fact that once we implemented higher ticket sales into our business and the fact that I saw that it was not only possible but repeatable really changed the way that I approach things as a business owner. So if for nothing else, bringing some higher ticket packages into your business can really shift who you are as a CEO.
Thank you for listening to episode 7 of the Social Media Millionaire podcast. If you enjoyed this, please give us a follow over on Instagram, kenda.laney and soren.laney. We're also over on TikTok and YouTube as well.
Be sure to review the podcast and subscribe so that you get notified about new episodes. We're so excited that you are here with us, and we'll see you in the next episode.